Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, whoever's out there in listening land. Welcome to KTEM AM on your radio dial, 1400, and welcome to the Common Sense with Conn call-in talk show. The call-in phone number here is 773-1400. 773-1400. And I hope we have some callers because I'm still fighting some kind of an allergy or epizootic or something. I don't know what it is, but I sure do get stopped up a lot. At any rate, I think we may have a caller on the line already. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Good day, Mr. Conn. I just thought I'd get on here real quick because, if I don't, I'm not going to be able to get in and get through to say what I need to say. But the reason for my call, Mr. Conn, is, I am totally disgusted with these peace officers in Florida. And at first I thought it was just one, and then they come out with three of them that were cowards to go in there and stop this kid from killing people in there. And I don't know what to think about those guys, taking the oath to protect the community, serve for the public and the people. And as far as I'm concerned, the chief of police ought to just grab them by that badge and just strip them off of that badge and put them in jail for about 30 years, all three of them. But
Boy.
You have a good day, sir, and I just thought I'd start off your program with that because that topic is good enough to talk about, and I know you have other issues. God bless you, Mr. Conn, and I really enjoyed listening to your program. You have a good day, son.
Well, Raymond, I appreciate you, and I guess that could be one answer. I'm sure there's lots of answers to the problems in Florida, but you do raise a question, and that is, and it's something I have said before, what percent of our policemen, law enforcement of any kind, what percent of them hide behind the badge and what percent serve behind the badge? Because it's not the same. If they have joined law enforcement so that they will be exempt from any fistfights or conflicts of any kind, that's not a good reason to be a cop. Because if you do your job, you're going to have to confront some situations you may or may not like. But having said that, I think that we make a mistake when we over and over and over and over again hear every official, when he comes on the television, the first thing he says is, well, our policemen lay their life on the line for us every day. And then you hear a policeman say, well, my main job is to get me home to my family every day. That's my main job. Well, that's not his main job. His main job is to protect those 17 kids at that school. If the only thing he's thinking about is getting home safe with no injury, never facing any danger, then he needs to go get a job at, as a doorman at Walmart or something. I really would like to see law enforcement as someone that, in fact, unless I'm mistaken, many years ago, you could not be a Texas Ranger unless you had been in a pretty bad conflict of some kind, shootout or something. And, the reason for that was somebody that has been under fire or been in a fist fight or been hit on the end of the nose or something, you kind of know what it's like. And at any rate, I guess we got another caller. Yes, caller, go ahead. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Hello, Conn. You heard about what happened a while back at Twin Peaks in Waco?
Right.
It's easy to shoot people that don't know that you're going to shoot them.
Yeah.
I mean, now, it's a lot harder to go into a situation where somebody's shooting and you don't know where he is, and, I mean, you know where he is, but you don't know what room he's in, and there's a bunch of kids running everywhere, and, that's what you call a scary situation.
Well, and Rick, it's easy for us to sit back and play armchair quarterback. We weren't there.
Yeah, that's true. And, I kind of feel sorry for the deputy because, a deputy is a little, I know they go through some training, but certainly that's a little different than being a trained police officer.
Well, either one of them, Rick, I really feel sorry for him because he will be a marked man for the rest of his life. And, you hate to see that. Maybe he just couldn't. See, there are some people, Rick, they just can't go in there to danger. They physically cannot do it. Their emotions or fear, whatever it is, just won't let them. But now I'm going to say that the vast majority of policemen and firemen, etc., they have overcome fear before, at least I hope they have. If you remember the 9/11 situation, if you remember that, look at where the firemen were. And
yeah, I know. A lot of them ran in the building.
They ran in the building. They didn't run from it. They ran at it. And 300 and something of them died. But I keep saying, if you've got a real bad problem, you've got two choices. You can run from it or you can run at it.
Well, what bugs me about the whole thing is that sheriff in that county in Florida on Wednesday, when he knew what had happened with the inaction of those 4 deputies, he got on TV and talked about gun control and all this stuff when he knew that they had dropped the ball. And now, if he had if they had let that out in public before he went up there and started talking, I wonder if the rhetoric would have been different. I heard Rush talk, or somebody talking about that. I think it was Mark Levin.
Well, he was following the agenda, Rick.
And then
the agenda is to confiscate weapons in the United States of America. That's the agenda.
And I think Waco's got a big problem with that Twin Peaks thing because you don't hold people in jail for that long without charging them with a crime.
Well, but here again, was that a overreaction of some kind? Like all this stuff about the AR-15s. Oh my! You just say the word AR-15, and it promotes irrational, emotional hysteria of some kind.
It's a fancy deer rifle. It's a deer rifle with fancy plastic stuff on it, basically.
Yeah, and the plastic stuff don't kill anybody. And let me give you an example. Heckler & Koch makes a HK-91. It's a semi-automatic with a plastic grip, pistol grip, hand guards, etc. They make another gun. It's called a Heckler & Koch 770. It has a wooden stock, looks like a deer hunting rifle. It has the exact same mechanism, the exact same receiver, shoots the exact same bullets, but one is scary looking and one is not. There is no difference in the function of the two guns, but one would be roundly criticized and scare people half to death, and the other one would not. We need to get over this hysteria that we're promoting because of what something looks like.
Well, I don't understand why after Columbine they didn't start thinking about school security more seriously, and maybe even just locked doors with where they have little cameras and you have to buzz to get in. Something. There doesn't have to be an armed guard standing out there like a sitting duck. They could have where you have to push a button, and they say, "Who is it?"
Well, things have changed, Rick, and it's not changing for the better. And I'm not sure I understand the change. When I was in high school in Houston at Houston Technical Vocational High School, old Floyd went down there at the same time I did, and you can ask Floyd. There was a lot of people that carried guns at that time.
I know all about that because when I was a kid, we had BB guns and nobody freaked out about stuff like that. It was normal to have guns and stuff, and especially for just kids.
Well,
And not only that, but you know, people. Some guy a long time ago, I don't remember exact year, he got mad and blew up a school with dynamite. And they didn't outlaw dynamite for a long time after that.
That was in 1922. I think he killed 22 kids and 7 teachers. And see, that was anyway. We don't talk about that because he didn't have an AR-15.
Yeah, I'm going to hang up and let somebody else have a chance. And I wish we could get, I hope this thing doesn't go on forever, because I feel sorry for all those kids, and I hope it never happens again. But I wish, I wish it had never happened so we wouldn't have to talk about it.
Yeah, but it will go on and on, Rick, because it fits the agenda of the left.
All right, I'll see you later, Conn.
Okay, thank you, Rick. Well, and I hate to just talk constantly about the Florida school shooting, but on the other hand, there needs to be somebody out here talking a little bit of common sense. A fellow called Lynn Woolley the other day, and he made the statement that a cop with a 9mm or a .45 just was no match at all for an AR-15. Well, he thinks that a 9mm or a .45 is plumb worthless against an AR-15. He doesn't understand that it's not what you're shooting, it's how you shoot it. That's what makes the difference. Years ago, and the older I get, the more thankful I am for my father. When I was about, 4 or 5 years old, real young, my daddy took me down to, we lived in Bryan, and out there was an old yellow brick building, and it was the slaughterhouse. And Daddy took me down there, and I will never forget, we walked up on this catwalk, and the chute was down below us, and a great big black feller was right up there in front of us on that catwalk. They opened the gate, and a big old bull come in the chute down there. And, I don't remember what he weighed. I was too young to know the difference, but he was a big bull. Anyway, the feller had on an apron of some kind, where he was cutting up, doing whatever. Anyway, he reached up on the wall there. There was I'll never forget, an old Remington bolt-action .22 rifle. He took it off that nail, leaned over that banister, and he hit that bull right between the eyes. And what impressed me was how fast the bull just fell to the ground. If you are playing with a puppet and you cut all the strings, that puppet just collapses and falls. That's the way that bull did. And I will never forget that, because, and I guess my daddy wanted me to know what even a .22 long rifle can do to a 1,000-pound, 2,000-pound bull. That bull never quivered, never shook. He just collapsed. So the point I'm trying to make is, the guy talking about a 9mm is no match for an AR-15. It depends on how you use the 9mm or a .22 long rifle. If you hit the shooter right between the running lights with a .22 long rifle, he's going to go down, believe me. So I'm just trying to emphasize that the lack of education of guns is one of our problems in this country. We're not educating young people about the use of guns and the effects of guns. We have young people today that's never fired a gun. They've never seen an animal shot with a gun. And I don't want to promote brutality or anything else, but I would submit that every young person in this country ought to see an animal shot and see the effects of that bullet. They ought to be able to walk up and put their finger in that bullet hole and see what that bullet did to that animal. And I know that sounds brutal, and a lot of animal lovers are going to not like what I'm saying, but how else do you really educate someone on what a gun does if they've never seen that? and they're over at their friend's house, and there's a weapon laying there, and they pick it up out of curiosity. They don't know that when it goes off, they may kill their friend because they've never seen what a gun might do. But at any rate, that's just my thoughts. I'm just thankful that my daddy taught. I'm thankful for a lot of things that my daddy taught me. That was one of them. Well, it looks to me like Billy and Moffitt is wanting to talk on this here telephone. So, Billy, won't you go ahead on?
Well, good morning, Conn.
What are you doing this morning?
Well, I just wanted to add a little to the conversation. The AR-15 is called an AR because it's made by Armalite. Everybody calls that an AR if it's an assault rifle. Not true. But let's put this into perspective. 2016, National Highway Traffic Safety Association data states that there were 37,461 lives lost on U.S. highways and roads in 2016. Now, Conn, that is 102 lives a day.
It wasn't 17, it was 102. I understand where you're going.
Well, you know, these mass things, like the school shootings, they're terrible, and I understand that. A plane goes down with 200 people on it. I can understand that. But that is a very, very small percentage of what we're killing each other on highways.
But tragedy happens, Billy, and bad things happen, and as long as there is mankind and they have a choice to do right or to do wrong, bad things are going to happen.
And it's not going to stop happening.
That's right. The
situation is, when Cain picked up a rock, slew Abel in the field, there has been malice and mayhem and murder from then on, and it's not going to stop.
No, it's not going to stop. But the difference is, can we defend ourselves from those kind of actions or not? You know, I'd like to remind people that that was a 19-year-old with a. Now, they said an AR-15. Every picture I've seen has not been an AR-15. It doesn't matter. It was a gun. But that 19-year-old, they say a AR-15. Well, I might remind folks that there was another 19-year-old young man with an AR-15 in Oklahoma about 2 months ago. 3 young folks kicked in the front door, and they were going to do some kind of harm. They were carrying brass knuckles and butcher knives. And it doesn't take long for me to figure out that they were going to hurt somebody in that house. Well, that 19-year-old man killed both of them with an AR-15. So we have an AR-15 being used for bad things, and we have an AR-15 being used to defend his family. Now, there's some bleeding heart liberal that will say, oh my, that young man will have to live with that for the rest of his life. Yeah, he will.
A good guy with a gun.
But the alternative was he would have had to live with seeing his mother and father massacred for the rest of his life.
That's exactly right. A good guy with a gun defended a bad guy.
Yep. And another thing, let's remember, there was a shooting down in Sutherland Springs, Texas, where some nut that should have never had a gun because of a failure of the Navy, he had a gun, and he killed, 24 people in Sutherland Springs. What stopped him? A good
guy with a gun.
Yeah, it wasn't somebody out there with a stick, and it wasn't somebody carrying a Bible. It was a barefooted plumber that ran out and got his gun, and I think it might have been a Ruger Mini 14, but it doesn't matter what it was. It was a gun, and he stopped the bad guy with a gun. But then,
well, I think President Trump is on the right direction on this. Background checks. I'm a gun owner. I'm a licensed carrier. But I think we should be screening some of these people out because most of them have a problem. There's something wrong in their heads, and it's got to be known. This last guy, he was turned into the FBI. Nothing was done.
Yeah.
Where's the story? Where does the story end?
Well, this was not a breakdown of gun ownership. This was a breakdown of law enforcement. That's where the breakdown was, and that was with
when is the left going to realize that?
Well, they're not, because it doesn't fit their agenda. The only thing they want to recognize is confiscating all the guns in this country. Now, they will do it incrementally. They won't try to take all the guns from everybody, everywhere, on one day. If we're waiting for that to happen, that's not what they're going to do. But it's the camel nose under the tent. They will take this type of gun, and then they'll take that type of gun, and eventually they'll get all of them. So is that what we want to do in America? Other countries have done that, and it didn't end too well.
And it's not going to.
No, it's not.
Well, one other little tidbit of information. I don't know if you were watching the news last night, but they had ICE raids in Waco and around the surrounding area. And this is straight off the news, off the TV. In Waco, there was 7 arrests with 145 total arrests in the neighborhood. 85 of these had criminal convictions, and 61 of them had returned after deportation. So we got a problem.
Well, we do. And what is our emphasis?
This is just in Waco.
Yeah, and let me add one thing to that, Billy. I've noticed that ICE and people like that, where do they go? Now, in this case, they didn't. It was a narc raid, but very often, where do they go to pick up illegals? They go to a roofing job where the illegals are putting a roof on a house and arrest them. They don't go to the university where the illegals are attending school. They don't go down to the welfare department and pick them up when they go to get their food stamps or whatever else it may be. So, what are we doing? We're arresting those who are productive. They're trying to add something to our labor force. I'll never forget, Lindsey Graham was talking about the DACA kids, those 23-year-old children. And his solution was, we need to either put them in the military or put them in college. Okay, great idea. We can give them a student loan, $100,000, whatever it might be, put them in college, and they can go enjoy themselves for about 4 or 5 years. They can get a degree in underwater basket weaving or whatever else it might be, and live off of us, the taxpayer. What an idiot. Why don't you if you want to keep those DACA people here, put them in a trade school and teach them how to weld or carpenter or mechanic and make productive citizens out of them. But that thought has never occurred to any of our politicians. They want to do something that consumes more tax dollars. Anyway.
They're looking for the next president.
Yeah.
Anyway, Conn, I'm going to let you go and let somebody else get on here. Have a real nice day and tell Dinky hi.
I'll do it. Thank you, Billy. Well, Billy just about got me off on a tangent there, but okay. If y'all have something to say, well, the phone number here is 773-1400, and we are going to a break. Try to help our sponsors there a little bit. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Okay, let's talk about some Chinese food here, folks. If you want to talk about some good food, Dynasty Chinese Restaurant is the place for you to go. You'll always receive super customer service and delicious food at Dynasty. It's a temple favorite for a dine-in, buffet, takeout, or delivery. Dynasty is family-owned and operated. They are strong believers in freedom and liberty and are avid supporters of this show. So give them a call at 778-4 254-778-4434, 254-778-4434 to make a reservation or just take your better half out there for a date night or just a place to order for delivery for that quiet night at home after a long day. Or if you're more tech savvy, I guess, than me, place your order online at www.dynastychineserestaurant.com. They're located at 2501 Airport Road in Temple. 2501 Airport Road in Temple. You can also visit them on Facebook at Dynasty Delivery. Okay, folks, Academy Paint and Body. That's owned and operated by some very patriotic people that are strong supporters of this show. Now, I say that because I go in there and visit with them for a minute, and they say, let me get a checkbook. They offer a full and complete paint and body shop with free estimates and 45 years of combined experience. They know how to fix your car. They offer roadside assistance 24/7, emergency service, including towing. You know, should that dadgum deer run out in front of you and you hit them at midnight or whatever, maybe your teenager gets in a jam or whatever at work, they offer roadside assistance, tire changes, even car lockouts. When you lock out your keys in the car, well, give them a holler and they'll come out there and help you. They got a wrecker. Whatever the problem is with your vehicle, they'll work hard to help ease the frustration. Get your vehicle repaired and back on the road. Give RC and Lance a holler at Academy Paint and Body. Their phone number out there is 982-0047. That's 254-982-0047. Now, they're located at 20020 North Highway 95. That's in Little River Academy. So give them a holler, and they'll get your car fixed up. With Conn call-in talk show. Now, the number to call in here if you want to talk is 773-1400. If you're out of town, it's area code 254-773-1400. And let me do something that I always forget to do. You know, we have to pay the bills around here pretty often. KTM does not give this airtime free. They want to get paid. So if some of y'all want to be a sponsor, or if you know someone that does, we always need sponsors. So the phone number to call in if you want to be a sponsor for this show is 300-1885. That's area code 254-300-1885. And I appreciate our sponsors more than I can say. But let me tell you somebody else I appreciate. I've got a friend that is a retired prison guard, and he doesn't have a lot of money. He doesn't have very much money at all, but he sends a check to this radio for $10 every month. Now, you know, it's not enough to keep this show going, but bless his heart, he's trying. And there's other people out there that could do the same thing and do. I've got another very good supporter that contributes every month to this show, and God bless him. Those kind of people are helping to keep this show on the air. I was eating a taco in Academy this week, and I won't mention his full name, but a fellow named Mike walked up to our table. My wife and I were there, and he handed me some money, and I won't say how much, but he handed me some money, and he said, apply that to your talk show. He said, I listen to you every Saturday. Now, I was very, very moved by that. And I think I told him, and I'll tell all the people that do that kind of thing, about 10 times a week, I think, I got too much business to do. I don't need to be doing that dad blame talk show. Man, I got to try to make a living. And I don't make a dime out of this show. I don't know if people realize that or not, but this show costs me money. It does not make me any money. I mean, not a quarter. But people like that try to help keep me on the air, that's why I do it. Otherwise, I would give up, quit this thing, and go back to making a living. And it takes more time and sweat, tears, and mental anguish than you think it does to get sponsors and keep this thing on the air. But I enjoy doing it, and I really hope that I can say things that register on people's mind and makes them think. If I say one thing every Saturday that makes you think and makes you consider and maybe puts things in perspective, then I've done what I want to do. We have so many problems in this country. And, the school shootings, that's a problem. It really is. But it's not the only problem we've got. We have so many, forces out there that are trying to divide this country. Listen to the rhetoric of the mostly Democrats. Now, there's some Republicans out there that I don't like either. But listen to Nancy Pelosi. She is the leader of the Democrat Party. And you tell me if you want to be a follower of that. If she's the leader and you join the Democrat Party, you want to follow Nancy Pelosi and her infinite wisdom? Man, what is wrong with your head? And it's not just Nancy Pelosi, it's Maxine Waters. You want to let her tell you how to make a living and how to live and how to keep this country free? That's the people that you're voting for when you go out there and support the Democrat Party. And I was born and raised a Democrat. All of my friends were born and raised a Democrat, but they're not anymore because I pay attention to what the Democrats say and do. And right now, all of you gun owners out there that like to protect your family and yourself and your property, and you like to do it with a gun, you better be paying attention because who's calling for gun control? It's the Democrat Party and some Republicans. Now, I'll blame them too, but it's the Democrat Party's agenda to get those guns because you have first got to take away the guns before you can totally control the people. When the population has no way to defend themselves, and the government says get on that rail car, then you get on the rail car. You have no choice. The only time you have a choice is when you have a way to defend your position, and that we're talking about guns. And I know a lot of people don't understand guns. They hate guns. Another reason I am so glad that my father showed me what a gun does. And I think every child needs to be shown what a gun does. And I think that we've got to, we may have one of those callers on here coming up now that's he's going to tell us something, get us all straightened out, and he has the ability to do it. So, Mr. Carroll.
Hey, Conn, how you doing today?
Well, I'm just doing fine. I'm doing better now that you're on the phone.
Well, yeah, this morning, I think I'm getting that flu again.
Oh, don't do that.
I hope not. This morning I woke up with the dry heaves and stuff. So I tell people out there they need to be careful and take care of themselves because it seemed like I was good for like 2 weeks, and then this morning. But I was just looking at the television, and it seems like they've picked. I don't know what your listeners feel like with the military parade that Donald Trump wants to put out, wants to do. He says Veterans Day, and I'm all for it. I mean, with 22 years in the military, you see these other countries and stuff, and I think this is a psychological thing that he's doing. Because
yes, it is.
We never put out but to show our force, and I think everyone in the military would be proud of that.
Well, let's be proud of our military and what they do, Cal.
Yeah.
Let's look back at the Vietnam War era when those soldiers came in, and what happened? People would spit on them, and they would, I'll never
Boo
forget. I'll never forget what General Schwarzkopf said. Some news anchor said, "Well, did they spit on you, General Schwarzkopf?" He looked at him right in the eye and he said, "Nobody ever spit on me," and I'll bet he meant what he said. But we need to promote respect, not anger, not disrespect.
And I agree with that. They're talking about, I just saw it, Veterans Day. And I think to have a large parade with everything that we have to show our force, like, North Korea and China and all these others always do, you see that and stuff, is sending a signal or a message that, hey, we are the most powerful nation in the world as far as, as far as our army and such. So I'm all for that. Another thing, I think that I was listening to some of your earlier people that called in, and I agree with the gentleman, I think, that just called in just before me and was talking about President Trump moving in the right direction on the guns, for the gun control and concealed carry. I know this, but to me, I can tell you when I was in school, I knew which people. Now, that was a long time ago. I'm 69 now, but that was a long time ago, and people didn't come to school with guns where I went. But I knew which ones, that they were a little bit off.
Right.
Okay? I mean, you knew the way they talked about things, the way they, whatever, they would show you. You knew that, Randy he ain't working on all 6 cylinders. He's only working on about four or 3. There's something wrong with him.
But somebody kind of kept an eye on him.
And, you could tell that he wasn't up to snuff. Just like this one in Florida, and they knew, and certainly the FBI and the local police they missed the ball on this. I don't know why, because they don't take it serious. But I think on all of these mass killings and stuff, they don't go out and just suddenly, it's like me leaving my house and going into Walmart and suddenly boom, 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 boom. They have this thing of telling people, someone.
See, that raises a question that I've been asking, Cal. What makes this? You can't tell me that somebody just wakes up some morning and wants to kill as many people as they can kill.
Right.
There's something behind this. There's something causing this. Is it the drugs we're taking? Is it? I don't know. Is it the social media that people watch all the time? I don't know. but there's something causing this.
They've already said that there's been 2 other. I'm not sure. I hadn't catch all the news because I hadn't been watching it. I've been laying here in the bed. But anyway, that and they showed. It looked like when I looked on television, there was another student somewhere that had some guns and things like that. And you know, they talk about the age limit and things. I said once before, we ought to have some kind of registration on the number of bullets. If you got an AR-15 and you buy 2,000 rounds of bullets, somebody needs to knock at your door and say, you know, the FBI say, excuse me, but why do you need that many bullets? What's going on? And stuff. But,
well, and that and what responsibility does the next door neighbor have?
Right.
You know, if the next door neighbor sees him in the backyard with 15 clips full of ammunition and 2 pipe bombs, then why don't you say something?
Well, see,
back when you were in school, if you had something, just what you're saying, if you had somebody that was kind of off a little bit, everybody kind of watched him, and you know, had he done something crazy, all of y'all would have stopped him.
Right, and see, the problem with the neighbor next door is they might see it, but they might be. If I go tell the police, they'll say, you know, they'll go over there and they'll say, oh, you're meddling in my business. I haven't done. It's almost like you have to do something first, rather than look at it and say, hey, look, this guy, you know, he's setting up this, he's doing that, and all, and the police, you know, they come along and he hasn't done anything.
But Cal,
yeah,
what have you heard people say a million times? I never talk politics or religion. Okay, why? Is it because they don't want the responsibility to the knowledge that they get from talking politics and religion? So the next door neighbor that doesn't want to turn in the guy, are they afraid to accept the responsibility?
Yeah.
What are we afraid of?
Well, you know, somebody might come back. I'm willing to bet, I'll give you 10-to-1 odds, that there are more kids down there in Florida where that happened, Parkland, that could come forward and give you information on that, what's his name, Nicholas or something like that, Cruz.
Yeah, Nicholas Cruz, yeah.
Nicholas Cruz. I'm willing to bet. They haven't come forward, and they won't come forward because, if I tell them that, that would have said something. Or there are more than 20-some, 25-some kids, children, young adults, that could come forward and give a testimony on how this guy was. And with all that, the FBI, local police should have visited his place and don't have to worry about, you know, invading his privacy because we've got enough information to go in and look and see what's going on. And it could avoid it.
Well, I've got another question, Gal. Yeah. Have we educated all the guts out of people? Have we educated them to the point that they love sweetness and light and be gentle and nice and sweet and don't, have we done that?
Well, that's what the left wants you. They want you to feel comfortable and stuff, and then they make up excuses after something go down that could have been avoided. And I don't know, but I think President Trump is going to get to the bottom of this, and they're going to come up. What he did, 2 days ago, to have an open forum and the cameras in there and all these teachers and students and parents talking like that is very good, something that hasn't been done before and stuff. He got a lot on his plate as far as going on and stuff.
Well, he does have a lot on his plate.
I don't know how he does it all and all.
Well, and he's having to fight. he's having to fight the news media and the Democrat Party and the communist or the whoever else that wants to destroy
but
this country.
But he did a very good 1 hour and 15 minute CPAC
speech sure did.
The other day, and that was just awesome. There's one other thing I'm going to say. I'm going to get off here. I enjoy and it was very interesting. I wasn't aware of this. I have to go online and check this out. You had one caller in, I think it was right before me, that was talking about the number of illegal immigrants or whatever that was rounded up in Waco.
Right.
I was like, what? Waco? Now, see, I could understand El Paso, but how did they get all the way to Waco?
Well, and they were rounded up in, I think that was a narcotics sting, I think. I'm not sure. But
so what scares me is MS-13 coming in this area.
Well, if we would simply turn on the news, and when you see a criminal arrested, is his name John Jones from Davila, Texas, or is it
Jose something?
Yeah, it's just pay attention to who the troublemakers are.
We need to really, seriously, need to watch the news. We need to be aware of what's what, because if they round up that many in Waco, that means they went past Temple or they're still in Temple, and MS-13 is spreading, all around.
But Cal, why can't we look at that? For example, how many Islamic people have caused mass destruction, and we want to do what? Bring in more? So I'm just saying, so much of this kind of thing we are promoting and encouraging. We're not discouraging it. And my man is telling me we have got to go to break.
Okay,
so,
I've taken up too much time. But I'm going to go lie down again.
Hold just a minute. Let me tell you your give you a diagnosis.
Okay,
You need to go in there and get you a tablespoon of sugar. And put 3 drops of kerosene on it.
What?
And take that about 3 times a day. Now that's my home remedy that'll help you get over that epizootic or whatever it is you got.
Kerosene.
Yeah, 3 drops of kerosene or 3 drops of whiskey. Now you might prefer the whiskey. But,
I'll go with the whiskey. Okay.
My grandmother was a staunch Christian and she didn't drink, so
she did the kerosene.
I got the kerosene remedy instead of the whiskey.
All right. You take care, Conn.
If you need me to make a house call, I'll come do it. So.
No. I'll give it a try.
Okay.
All right. Y'all take care.
Okay. Thank you, Cal. We'll be right back, folks. Don't go away. Okay, folks. Let's talk about chickens and peacocks. Asgard Farm Poultry is a family-owned and operated farm located in Lott and in Temple. They raise and sell chickens and peacocks of exceptional quality. These are not hatchery birds. They are highly productive, big, dual-purpose birds, so you can have large, beautiful colored eggs for your family breakfast or a nice-sized chicken for dinner. If you're not local, they ship chicks and hatchlings eggs all over the great state of Texas. They also raise some gorgeous, rare, and endangered chicken breeds. They invite you to learn about them and enrich your flock with these incredible birds while helping to continue these breeds' existence. Ask for Tina Gary, and her number is 210-215-7610. Don't let the 210 throw you off because they've been here for about 12 years in this area. Okay, their website is www.asgard, that's SZGARD, farmpoultry.com. And of course, they're on Facebook. Their email is chickenmath@asgardfarmpoultry.com. Give them a holler. Okay, folks, let's talk a little bit about getting your business or your home electrified or air conditioned. Dean Electric and Air Conditioning are an experienced business serving the greater Austin-Killeen area with professional, top-quality electrical services, including electrical construction, electrical service upgrades, and home wiring. The AC side of their company services many brands of air conditioning as well as providing total new installations. They do exemplary work, have friendly customer service, and reasonable rates. So if you need any type of electrical wiring or AC work, give them a holler. Their offices are located in Killeen at 502 South 2nd Street, and their phone number there is 254-371-5016. That's 254-371-5016. If you're in Williamson County or Travis County, you can call them at 512-694-3440. That is 694-3440, area code 512. Give old John up there a holler, and he'll get your electricity going for you.
Truth. It's not just a word on your Fox News station. News Radio 1400 KT.
Music, you know, what I grew up with and what I still love. I have a hard time getting used to the Beatles and all that kind of stuff. I still like that old American Southern cowboy type music, and I don't apologize for that. That was Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys. At any rate, we're back on the air, folks, with Common Sense with Conn. The call-in number here is 773-1400. Y'all call in if you got something to say. Right now, I think William from Stillhouse Hollow's got something to say. Yeah, William, go ahead.
Say, Mr. Conn, about 3 weeks ago, I woke up with a cold, you know, and got on down to see the doctor at the clinic. After examination, you ain't got no cold. Then he runs some tests. I had it's called Green Mountain cedar allergy.
Yeah, I've got that. I've had it for about a month.
It took me a month to get over mine. I'm over mine now. That first time I ever had that. I've been on this earth 85 years.
Well, now, was you listening close? I was just playing that song for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that Bob Wills. Yeah, I tell you what, I can still picture him from 70 or 75 years ago with him with them big cowboy boots on and prancing out there with that fiddle in his hand and prance backwards and tell old Tommy Donkey to sing the song there.
Yeah. Now, you mean you didn't trade in all of his records for the Beatles or the?
Oh no.
Oh me, I didn't either. And but that to me represents a much more sane, sensible American freedom time in our history. And I wonder what happened to it. I wonder what road we're traveling here, William.
Yeah, I'll tell you that Bob Wells. He the last I heard of him, he was on his way to California, and that sort of seemed like he passed away out there.
Yeah, I think he did. I'm sure he's gone. William, you be careful out there in Steelhouse Hollow. Now,
I'm going to stay away from them cedar trees.
Yeah, stay away from them cedar trees, and
I ain't going to be hugging none of them.
Don't get all stopped up out there.
I was plugged up.
And don't lose our phone number. You call back in sometime.
All right, I appreciate you taking my call. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you, William. Okay, sir. I am easy to get derailed. I've got some notes here, things I thought we ought to bring up on the air. So, y'all bear with me. I got that cedar allergy just like William does, I think. But at any rate, I got a question for us I would like to ask today. Is our country being divided? Are there forces out there trying to divide our country? And I see examples of that all the time. And what is their goal if they get us divided? The last time our country was divided, much like what I think they're trying to do today, it resulted in a little conflict called the Civil War. And I think we lost 450,000 good American citizens because of it. So, is there a group or groups or whatever, conspiracy if you will, trying to divide us again? Are they trying to divide black from white, straight from homo or whatever they are? Why all the push to promote LGBT, FREAKS groups, things like that? Why? Why are they pushing that at the Temple Library, at the public schools? Why? Why is there such a push to destroy traditional values in this country? Why and who is doing that? But you see examples of it all the time. And a lot of it is coming from our universities. And I do not understand several things. One is, why would you give money to a university that is promoting the destruction of America? Why would you donate to that? Other question is, why would you send your young children, 20-year-old, whatever they are, why would you send them to a university that's going to promote the destruction of this country? Just for example, if your child wants to be a journalist and you send him to University of Texas, now I'm quoting Lynn Woolley on his talk show, which we really enjoy. He was talking about the journalism professor at the University of Texas. He is apparently a card-carrying, genuine, bona fide communist. What do you think he will teach your young person to do as a journalism major? What do you expect to get out of that? Another example is we have a college professor, I think at Georgetown University, calling for white genocide. Do you know what white genocide? You know what he's saying? Do we understand what genocide is? Do we know what happened in Germany? They were calling for Jewish genocide, and they killed hundreds of thousands of them. Do we want white genocide in America? If your child goes to that university with that professor, what do you think your child is going to come home thinking? he's going to have his brain so mixed up. And now you've got Purdue University. They are teaching and preaching against the use of the word man. We have to eliminate the word man from our vocabulary. Why? God created man and woman. What are they trying to do? Why are they trying to destroy masculinity? Who do you think went to war in World War II, in World War I, in Korea, in Vietnam, right now in Afghanistan? Who went to war? Who defends this country? It's manhood and masculinity that does that. If you think that we're going to defend freedom and liberty with a bunch of girly men that all they think about is sweetness and love, I got news for you. We're leaning on a broke stick if we're doing that. But I got a caller now that's going to help me on this subject. Ed, go ahead on.
Mr. Conn, once again, you're just playing too much logic and too much common sense.
I know.
I agree with you. I believe this is civil war. And it started out with the Marxists and their philosophy, their lifestyle, their way of life, and against patriots like ourselves. I don't use the word conservative anymore. I use the word patriot to describe what's typically called conservatives. At any rate, this deal in Parkland with the shooter and the number of times that the police were called out on him, the information that the FBI got, and the failure to act on it goes beyond negligence. And to me, it seems like this is a contrived scheme to allow this to happen.
Yes, I wonder about that myself, Ed. And what agenda do they have? Do they, the best way to promote gun control is a whole bunch of dead kids shot with a gun.
Well,
is that their agenda? I don't know. I hate to make that accusation, and I'm not, but I'm asking the question: why are these things allowed to happen?
Well, the news services that I call the Ministry of Propaganda, because that's what they are, the ones that are calling for gun control and so on, they fail to mention the use of psychotropic drugs, the violence in the movies, and the violent video games that basically have laid the groundwork for people to exert violence upon other people in a criminal fashion.
Okay, could there be something behind this? Is this just accidental? Is
Not
it
at
natural evolution of our society, or is it being caused to happen? I don't know, but it's a good question.
Yes, that's the way I see it. And it's, my analysis from whatever common sense the good Lord has given me.
But another question we have is, how do we combat it?
You have to resist.
What do we do?
You have to stick to your guns.
Well, stick to your guns.
Literally and figuratively.
And educate your children.
Exactly.
We have parents today, Ed, that are very, very dad-blame lazy. They're too lazy to take their kid out there and show him things. So, like what I was saying a while ago, how many young children have ever seen an animal that was killed? How many young kids today have ever shot a gun?
Yeah, I think yes, that's true. It's a failure on the part of parents. And I like the example that you gave because I witnessed the same thing myself on a dairy farm when the butcher would come out and put a round right between the 22 long rifle, right between the running lights of that cow, and boom, the lays went out and down that animal went, and that was the end of that.
But see, if you've never seen that, Ed, you don't know what the effects of a 22 right between the running lights. You don't have any idea of what the effects of that is.
True.
So, I'm very thankful for my my dad. Oh, excuse me. I'm very thankful for my daddy give me that experience.
That was a good experience, and it taught you a lot. and just keep educating other people. And we have to resist the tyranny. You ask, what can we do? Just keep doing what you're doing, communicating with people, and resist the tyranny, because that's what it's come down to.
Well, and all of us have got to stand up and fight this. We cannot afford to be lazy and hope that it goes away. We have got to stand for something or fall for anything, and if we don't stand up against this, we're going to lose this country we're living in.
Absolutely. That's where the part of the Civil War comes in. We are engaged in civil war. Well, anyway, I'm going to get off the air and let somebody else get on.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ed. You be careful up there.
Okay, you too, and great talking with you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, here we are back on the air. So if y'all have something to say, well, the number is 773-1400. You can call in and air your opinions. And I apologize for the way I'm talking, but I've got that same allergy that I guess everybody else has got, and it's about to eat me up. But at any rate, what are some of the things that we see that is trying to divide this country? And I have a whole list of them here. But like I say, the move to destroy masculinity. What's that about? Why do we want to make America, the society that we live in, why do we want to make it weaker? What's the goal to make America weaker? Could it be that somebody wants to take us over and they don't want any resistance? Because who resists is people that will stand up and be counted. I think we got a caller on the line here. Dennis, if you're still there, you go ahead on.
Yes, sir. It's good to talk to you today. I'll listen to your show. I live in Rice's Crossing, Texas. That's 20 miles northeast of the People's Republic of Austin. I left Vietnam at the airport. I turned in my M16 .45 automatic and a .300 Winchester Magnum bolt-action rifle. I got on the plane out of Vietnam with 25 confirmed. I came home. I got a job as an iron worker erecting radio towers. I signed up for the VA medical. They diagnosed me as a sociopath. The day I turned in those weapons was the last time I picked up a weapon. My thing is right now about these shootings has nothing to do with firearms. Has everything to do with pharmaceuticals and antidepressants.
You know, I really do appreciate you sharing that with us, because, you know, you're defining the problem. If you have a problem like that and you recognize it and you stay away from guns, then you're helping to keep this country stable. You're not contributing to the problem, you're helping solve the problem. So, you know, and I don't know how many psychopaths, I don't even know what a psychopath is, but it may have something to do that what would cause you to get a gun and go shoot people, and we don't need any more of that.
Correct. That's exactly what I did, and I was very good at it. And I appreciate your show. I will try to contribute some money. I'm on a pension, but I live by myself with my dog, and we're having a good life now. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, and I really do appreciate your call. Don't lose this phone number. You call back in because you have illustrated what is at least a partial answer to our problem. You were diagnosed that way, and thank goodness that you got that diagnosis and you got your life straightened out, and you haven't done something like other folks are doing. So, Dennis, I really appreciate your calling and talking about that. I really do. I just wish there was more people with the same common sense that you've got. Okay, here we're back on the air, folks. If you've got something to say, call in at 773-1400. If you have a sponsor or a potential sponsor, call 300-1885. That's 300-1885. That'll hook you up to my wife, and she'll tell you how to be a sponsor. And I think that we have got a commercial break. Caller, just hold on. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Let's talk about the communication system. Fulkerson Communications, they are a leader in the communications industry. Fulkerson Communications brings over 40 years of experience to provide reliable and cost-effective solutions for all of your telecommunication needs. They offer consultation, design, sale, installation, and implementation of service of phone system and specialty applications, as well as network solution, phone system, IP setup, and structured cable, voice over internet protocol technology to small and large business. Now, all of you know that I'm not very savvy in the high-tech world, so I'm doing the best I can. So I have no idea what I just described to you, but I do know these people will do you right, and they are there for you and for the long haul if you need them. Their service area covers most of Central Texas and part of the Hill. Their phone number in Temple is 254-742-0064, and in Killeen, it's 254-698-0016. That's 698-0016 in Killeen. Call them out there and talk to them. Now, you might get Dana, and I know her pretty well. And whatever she tells you, that's the way it is. So give them a holler and see if they can help you. Okay, folks, let's talk a little bit about Goodwin Farm and Ranch Supply. The Goodwins are just a nice family that have raised their kids to be impressive, outstanding, patriotic young adults. It was truly a pleasure to have an intelligent conversation with an educated young person. That's their 19-year-old son out. Their family own and operate 2 feed stores. One in Moody. It's at 108th Street there in Moody, and that phone number is 254-853-8039. The second one is here in Temple out in the industrial. It's in Temple at 3600 Range Road. That's 3600 Range Road, just off of Loop 363. And that phone number is 254-773-8840. Now, they carry a wide variety of feed, different kind of brands to choose from for your equine, I guess that's horses, livestock, wildlife, and pet needs, as well as traditional farm and ranch supply. So they got the feed. Just go by there and tell them what you need, and they'll try to get it for you. Both stores are open Monday through Friday, 8 until 6 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. Their website, if you need it, is www.goodwinfarmandranch.com. That's www. Before I turn Cal loose, what do I say? I want to thank Dennis, because Dennis described the failure of people like the shooter in Florida and the one in Las Vegas and places like that. Dennis was diagnosed with a mental problem, so he didn't go home. Now I'm guessing, but Dennis, I'll bet you didn't go home and watch violent videos and people with machine guns and The Walking Dead and stuff like that. You went home and recognized your problem, and you didn't go out and kill 17 people. And Dennis sets a very good example for all of us. You know, the greatest teaching aid known to mankind is his example. What example did Dennis set? Okay, now I've preached enough. I got Cal on the line. Cal, you want to talk about something?
Yes, I've been down in this area for about in the Clean Temple, Belton area for about a year and a half or so, and I've heard you. I was going to bring up one negative thing. Is that okay? Or
sure, you bet.
Okay. Well, I've heard you call in to the during the week a whole I don't know how many times, and I don't ever remember disagreeing with you on anything. You seem like a down-to-earth, common sense kind of a guy, you know. And then I heard, but one time you called in, it was on a Saturday, and it was a lawyer that was hosting it. I don't remember his name, you were absolutely blasting the police for writing your son a speeding ticket for driving 12 mile an hour over the speed limit. Said that the police had made enemies out of you and your son, and I was shocked, and I thought, it said it was, you know, the speed limit should have been a lot higher there, and I bet if I knew where it was at, I'd probably totally agree with it. But I was shocked that I heard you say that about the police doing their job.
Well,
and, the message I got was that, you know, I thought what that tells, I think maybe a lot of people is, if you disagree with the law, you shouldn't have to mess with it or obey it.
Well, I appreciate your criticism. You know, we can't go through life and never hear criticism or disagreement. So I appreciate your criticism, and that gives me a chance to maybe kind of define what I was talking about. I hate to see speed traps, and there seem to be everywhere. Just for example, Academy, Texas. If you look at a city map of Academy, the township is like a circle, and then this long, narrow strip goes up Highway 95, and you know, the city limits is up there. It goes from 75 to 60, and there's a policeman sitting right there at that city limit sign giving tickets. Well, that's, if you take a look at the city map, that will explain what I'm talking about. Because this is a speed trap. And speed traps, in my mind, promote hatred of cops. And I don't like to see more and more people hating cops, because the result of that is they walk up and shoot one somewhere. So whether it's a seatbelt ticket or a speed trap or whatever it is, and as far as what I was talking about, if you're going down the Farnham Market Road out in the country, no houses, no businesses, no nothing, but you cross the city limit sign and there's a cop giving tickets, you're not expecting the speed limit to go from 75 to 60. You know, you're out in the country. And there's other towns, just pay attention. For example, you go through Jasper, Texas. You're out there in the piney woods, and it seems like, I don't know how many miles before you get to the city is a city limit sign. And that's just a speed trap. The only thing out there is pine trees, but you got a cop giving speeding tickets. So, I'm not trying to criticize policemen. We have to have them. Without cops, we would have anarchy. We have to have them, and the vast majority of them are fine folks and dedicated to keeping the peace. But as I have said before, the highway patrolman that was just killed in a car wreck over here on the interstate, his name was Tom Hipper. and he stopped me twice. First time I ever met the man, and he was not a close friend. I just met him twice. Both times when he stopped me for running a little bit over the speed limit. But I'm telling you, and I told him this, the way he acted and the way he treated me, he was not a revenue collector. He was a peace officer. And I really do appreciate peace officers, and I don't appreciate revenue collectors. Because the revenue collectors just promote ill will toward police.
Yeah, I understand that. I served in law enforcement for several years, way back in the 50s after I got out of the Army. And one of my best buddies got killed. This was in Amarillo, Texas. But they're not perfect, but I just... And then whenever you sounded a little emotional whenever you called in that day, and I kept saying, I thought, as much as I've heard from Conn, he's a great guy, and sometimes our emotions get, we've all done things we wish we hadn't, But,
yes.
But the law enforcement, and one other thing I'd like to mention right quick with regard to this gun control stuff, these tragedies, I think blaming that on guns would be like blaming 9/11 on airplanes. What airplanes did to these buildings, we've got to get rid of airplanes. It just makes no sense.
Well, what worries me about this whole gun control debate is what's their goal? What's their agenda?
Yeah,
politics. Is there an agenda here to eventually take guns away from the American people? Let me give you an example.
Okay.
When World War II started, the country of England had no guns. There was no private ownership of guns in England. You know what the people of the United States did? They had gun drives. Farmers and ranchers and country people would donate a gun to be sent to England.
For those people, yes.
Yeah, so they could defend themselves.
Yes.
Now, we don't want to do that.
No.
We haven't been invaded in this country, and hopefully we never are. But if we're not, one reason we're not is because there's 300 million guns in this country.
Right.
And a lot of folks that know how to use them.
Oh yeah. Well, and if they when they pass gun laws, and if they start restricting, the only ones it really affects are the law-abiding citizens.
Right.
Because that's not going to keep the idiots and the criminals from getting whatever they want,
Well, exactly, and here again, I thank you for the criticism about my criticism of some cops, because I have to respect them, and my goal in saying something is I would like for people to continue to respect them.
Yes.
But if we have just a continuous speed traps. And, I used the example of getting a seatbelt ticket in Temple, $158.
That's ridiculous.
Where's the victim to that crime?
That's ridiculous.
Under habeas corpus, you're supposed to produce the victim or the evidence.
Yeah.
Bring the victim to my crime. Where is it? There's not one.
That's right.
But that was a way to get $158, and if that same officer gives 20 tickets a day, there's an overhead there of him and his motorcycle of $200 a day, and he can bring in $3,000 a day in tickets. Now, is that about health and safety, or is that about revenue?
Well, I know what it should be about.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate I didn't mean to take up this much time, but I appreciate it, and I really enjoy listening to you.
Well, and I appreciate your call. I sure do.
Okay.
You're a good listener and a good caller, and don't lose the phone number.
Oh, no.
Okay, folks, back on the whatever else it was we was talking about, and I appreciate that call from Cal, and I may not really like criticism, but it's part of life. I know that I'm not perfect, and I know I'm not going to say the right things every time everywhere. So, that's just the life we live. At any rate, what concerns me right now is all of the division that's occurring in the country, and what is promoting this division, and where does it lead us? If I keep asking the questions, look at the Democrat Party, and not just them, but the news media. What is their goal? Why are they trying to destroy Donald Trump? Donald Trump has done more to help this country than has been done in years and years. And if you can use a little bit of common sense and look at the 8 years of Barack Obama, and then listen to Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters and Chuck Schumer, you compare all of that to Donald Trump. If you can't see the difference, you are dumb as a flat rock. So, but now here we have a caller that's going to get me straightened out. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Yes, sir, Mr. Conn. This is Raymond again. I just wanted to make a brief statement to that caller that you had earlier by the name of Dennis. I just wanted to tell him, if he's out there listening, thank you for your service for the country. It's another Vietnam veteran. I know where you're coming from. And another thing, thank you for sharing your diagnosis with us.
Absolutely.
And also, I wanted to tell you one thing. That took a lot. And another thing, too, you were brought up properly by your mother and your father. And if a lot of these other children could be brought up like you, the whole world would be different. And I just wanted to add one more thing to you, sir. Whatever life you have left, may you live it in peace. Thank you for your service.
Well,
thank you, Conn.
Thank you, Raymond. Thank you. And I sure share that. All I can say is, amen. I thank Dennis for his service and for him sharing that with us, because it demonstrates the difference between the way he has led his life and the way the shooter in Florida has lived his, and the shooter in Las Vegas. The shooter in Las Vegas might have had the same problem that Dennis had, but either he wasn't diagnosed or he didn't take action or whatever. But I just can't tell you how much I appreciate Dennis sharing that with us and our listening audience. Okay, I guess we got to go to break again. We got to try to pay the bills around here. Yes, y'all hang in there. We'll be right back. Okay, folks, let's talk a little bit about Jack Hilliard Materials. They're out there at 12495 Reed Lake Loop in Temple. That's out there just past Academy. They handle all kind of rocks, big rocks, little rocks, gravel, road base, pea gravel, sand, whatever it is you need, they got it out there. Give old Hector a call at 254-982-4122. That's 982-4122. And also now they have dozers and excavators, and they can build you a stock pond or a road or whatever it is you want to build. And they got all kind of rocks to put on top of it when they get through. Give old Hector a call out there at 982-4122. Okay, folks, if you have an American flag outside your business, this show is an excellent choice for your advertising dollar. If your core beliefs are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, this show is an excellent choice for your advertising dollar. If you merely want to build a good, wholesome customer base, this show is an excellent choice for your advertising dollar. If you decide you want to advertise on this show and get some of those good customers, the advertising dollar working for you will give us a call at 254-300-1885. That's 300-1885. And we'll get you set up and going. Okay, folks, let's talk about some cow feed and horse feed and stuff like that. Temple and Belton Feed and Supply. It's a family-owned, operated feed store for 30 years, serving in Bell County, farmers, ranchers, pet owners, and hunters. Both stores offer a wide variety of feed brands and supplies for your farm stock, show animals, livestock, pets, including your spoiled chickens and wild bird lovers. They have a horse tack, feeding products, toys, jewelry, western wear. You name it and they got it. Hunters, they have your camouflage gear, deer feeders, blinds and stands, and the best protein feed for harvesting those great big old bucks that you want to put on your wall when you get home. Also now, I sure do like to feed that Winland horse and mule feed to my horse. When I give him that, he thinks he died and went to hell. They're just good people over there. I've been buying feed there for a long time. Anyway, if you're in Temple, stop by and pick up what you need at 305 South 2nd Street. That's 305 South 2nd Street. Their phone number out there is 254-778-7975. That's 778-7975. In Belton now, if you're down there in Belton, if it's closer to you, you'll find them at 410 East 2nd Street. That's 410 East 2nd Avenue, Or if you call them at 939-3636, they'll help you out there. Their website is templebeltonfeed.com. Temple Belton Feed. Hey folks, here we are back on the air after some of that good old American music right there. I think that we have John holding in Belton, and he's going to get us straightened out on something. So John, go ahead on.
Thanks for taking my call, Conn. Say, I just wanted to pass something on. When I was 16 years old, I was a member of the rifle team in New York City, and I used to carry my .22 on the subway. And when I joined the team, the Knickerbocker Grays on Park Avenue at the 7th Regiment Armory, I had to become a member of the NRA safety course before I could fire my first shot. And I'm asking myself, I guess it's quite obvious, what has happened between then and now?
John, dadgummit, during your time, you got me started again. My daddy taught me how to shoot when I had to put the stock under my arm. I couldn't stick it in front, but anyway, I was little bitty. But he taught me to shoot, and he also taught me if you kill a squirrel, you better shoot him in the head. And you don't ever shoot a squirrel with a shotgun because the pellets drive the hair into the meat, and then you can't eat the meat. So I had to shoot him in the head. But my point is, and it's the same point you're making, you were taught how to handle a gun. And let me ask you a question. How many school shootings have you had because you had a gun?
None. Well, I lost one friend in a school because some friends went to his house to go look at his gun, and one of them was shot and killed. But that's the only one I can ever remember. And had I been there at school that day, I might have been with the rest of them. But it was just an accident.
Well, and that was the lack of education of guns.
Exactly. And let me make one other comment about this ammunition thing.
Yeah.
You know, you can't, because somebody goes out and maybe takes advantage of a sale and buys 250, a box of 250 9mm and goes to the range and shoots it up in a couple of days. There's no reason for somebody to come knocking on his door. You can buy a box of 22s of 50 in a box and kill almost 50 people with it.
Yeah.
There's we can't get off the run off the rails here on this. This is getting stupid. You know, somebody might buy 1,000 rounds, or maybe they may reload 1,000 rounds, and they like to go to the range. That's what they do. Instead of going to the golf course, they go to the pistol range and spend the weekend shooting out there, target practice. And we shouldn't, we shouldn't demonize these people.
Well, and John, you're absolutely right. I don't like to talk about myself on this show, but like I say, I was taught to shoot when I was 5 years old or 6 years old, whatever it was. My daddy brought me a 22 Model 92 Winchester pump 22 long rifle when I was about 10 years old, and I walked all over Milam County with a 22 rifle and a dog, and I never killed anybody. I knew how to handle a gun because my daddy taught me how to handle a gun, and I knew what a gun does.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be brutal or anything else, but if more kids were taught to handle a gun and then see what a gun does, I think we'd have a lot less things like these school shootings. But
I think one of the problems is what these kids are seeing on videos. They're desensitized towards blood and gore anymore.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything to them. They're like brain dead.
Well,
but one other thing I'd like to mention, these AR-15s, it's a good thing to arm up America. You never hear of an NRA person going crazy and shooting a bunch of people. We have a standing army in this country that's ready to go, and if need be, if things really get out of control, and things are getting crazy in this country around our cities and whatnot. I mean, look at Rodney King, what happened in Los Angeles.
And the standing army, John, is us.
That's it. That's exactly what I'm saying. I enjoy my next door neighbor. I like him having a gun and being able to protect himself. I don't want to be the only one on the block with a gun.
Well, it's back to that saying, if not now, when? If not me, who? If your neighbor takes care of the bad guy, that means you don't have to do it. So
exactly,
like the barefooted plumber in Sutherland Springs, he saw what needed to be done, and he was part of this private army that we have in America, and he took care of business. He stopped the guy. Now, how many more people would that guy have killed had it not been for a barefooted plumber with a gun? So,
and I can't wait for teachers to start getting armed up at school and have a presence. There's a lot of teachers out there that would be more than happy to conceal carry in school. This is just crazy what's going on, and what your other caller said about this may be they may be letting something like this go on to get rid of the guns in this country, just like they did the Fast and Furious.
Well, that's exactly my question, John, and I hate to bring it up because I hate to sound like someone who is constantly talking about conspiracies and all that kind of stuff, but on the other hand, there are conspiracies. There are people that want to destroy this country, and are they CNN, news media, Who and what are they? I don't know, but we had better start asking the question, because if the FBI and the CIA and the Department of Justice, if they really would like to see these kinds of shootings, and by that, if they don't do anything to stop it, then I guess they would like to see more of it. So we need to ask that question.
Yeah, I agree.
In all of these situations, like the barefooted plumber, had there been someone in that school down there, even if he had a 22 long rifle, he could have stopped that guy.
That's right. That's right.
John,
but thank you very much, Conn. I don't want to take up any more of your time.
No, I
Have a
appreciate
good
your
day.
call. And, and you know, I kind of have a biased opinion about guns, I guess, because I've enjoyed guns and gun ownership all of my life. And I have seen, just for example, my dog went to barking one night at 11 o'clock, and I got up with my 1911, which lays there by my bed cocked and locked. That would scare some people, I guess, but it don't scare me. But I got up and went out and confronted the guy, and I was glad I had that 1911 because it turned out that he was a genuine registered bona fide burglar, wanted on a 15-year adjudicated sentence for burglary. Well, I asked you, was I better off going out there with a gun or with a flashlight, or maybe just hiding in my bedroom? Yes, sir, Bob.
Ms. Conn, thank you for what you do and how you do it.
Oh, thank you.
You asked the question earlier, why was it that the law enforcement people did what they did? And going back to infantry training in the 60s, the two-man rush, one shoots, one advance, you had three behind their cars. What it comes down to is you fight as you train, and you train as you fight.
Yeah.
And if this scenario has not been worked out, then what is the response? And I think that once again you have to be willing to think about the absolute worst case scenario that can happen. I think a second question that you asked is, how does it happen in the individual? I am not in any way, shape, or form an expert in the field. But what has been fascinating to me is the interlock between the frontal lobes of the brain and the amygdala. And it is the fibers that go between the two that end up setting up the ability to rationalize and think and to go ahead and get the judgment. The development of those nerve fibers takes approximately 16 to 18 years to develop the outer core called myelin that allows the transmission of the electronic pulse fast. So that I think that in every society they have always looked toward people reaching the age of 17 and 18 as being mature. And I'm sure that this is what's there. Before then, everything is black and white. It is impulse reaction.
Right.
And I think that this is why teen suicide is so high, because it's either very good or very bad, and if it's bad, you react to it. So listening to 17-year-olds go ahead and react, to me, is a statement of a reaction. Now, speaking of reactions, the single officer, had he advanced and even pulled a trigger inside the school, shooting into the ceiling or whatever, the first instinct of anybody under fire is to go ahead and pause and all of a sudden think defensively. And that is the advantage of the firestorm that took the place of rapid discharge and then advance under it because people are ducking. And I think that if there is, again, a thing to say about train as you fight and fight as you train, I think that is a classic example of that.
Well, I think another problem that he might have because he didn't act is not everybody has the same level of adrenaline. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not nothing, but I just noticed that some people, when confronted by a problem, the adrenaline comes up and they grab an axe handle or a stick or a rock or something and they confront that problem. And other people just cannot do that. So
10% of infantry people cannot pull the trigger. But going back to the amygdala and the frontal lobe connection, that can be traced out by dynamic
CT MRI studies these days. And it seems to me, why are we not taking these problem children that are showing up on everybody's radar screen and going ahead and putting them through just to find out if those fibers exist? Because as I understand it, 2 to 3% of children do not have those fibers and will never have a conscience in their lifetime.
Let me interrupt you just one moment. We are totally out of time, but I really would like to hear more about what you have to say. So don't lose this phone number and call in next Saturday. We need to have more discussion like you're bringing up. We've got to solve this problem, and we can't solve it by cussing the AR-15s. There's more to it than that.
No, but I think the American Academy of Pediatrics, if they're going to be a spokesperson for children, should take an active role in this.
I agree. And so many problems start when kids are little. That's when you teach a kid how to work. That's when you teach him honesty. And I think that we are out of time.